Okay, today I feel very lucky, very honored, a little bit excited, I must say, because I have one of my hero today in our show. We have a guest that play with the likes of Ozzy Osbourne, Quiet Riot, David Coverdale, and Randy Rhoads. Here we are with the mighty and one of my biggest hero about bass guitar, Rudy Sarzo. Here you are.
How are you?
Very fine, fine. I'm very glad to have you here because, as I told you before, you are one of my hero, maybe the biggest hero, because when I used to see you on the Quiet Riot video, Metal Health, I saw your stage acting and the way you play bass guitar upside down and stuff like that. And I say, oh my God, I want to play like this. It's not only your ability to play bass, but also to act, perform on stage, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that came from playing many years in clubs, and you have 6 sets, and you start like around 10 or 11. So by 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm trying to keep myself awake.
I
So
see.
I would do things like that just to like challenge myself because you can't fall asleep when you have a bass on your head. You can't, you know. That keep me
That's
awake.
fun, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I'm sure about it.
I started playing upside down, playing just one string the whole song, just to
Yeah.
awaken up my mind. Pay attention. Yeah.
That's great. Your big career, your huge career that's spanning from decades, and your first move was in Quiet Riot first version with Randy Rhoads, great guitar player that we missed very much. What about Randy? Which type of person and musician was like?
Yes, I wrote a book about it. It's called Off the Rails. And when I say that, it's like, to give you an impression in few sentences about the essence of Randy Rhoads. I always leave the conversation feeling like I have not said enough. So I had to put it in over 300 pages, what it was like to play with Randy Rhoads, which was the reason why I wrote the book. That's the number one question I get asked when I travel around the world. And so I have to give you like the full picture of what Randy Rhoads, how he was born, because he was born like that. He was a very natural, honest, sincere human being. He wasn't trying to be anything else but himself, you know. And he was born into a musical family, mom and dad, both music professors. And at a very early age, he started playing music. It was all around him. It was very natural for him to do that. So at a very early age, his first instrument was the classical guitar, which I believe it's a little bit, no, not for me. My, yeah. Yeah, my first instrument was the conga drums. I'm from Cuba. At the cradle, when you're born at the cradle, they bring conga drums so you can play them as a baby. So, but Randy's was the classical guitar, and which is interesting because classical guitars have a wider neck, so it's more challenging for a young musician with smaller hands. And then like if you pick up a Fender Stratocaster, it's easier for a child to play, even though the body might be large. But he got used to that, the spacing of the strings from the very beginning of the classical guitar. So that's why he always gravitated towards necks that had the same spacing. And the closest one he could find was the Les Paul. The Les Paul. As a matter of fact, the Jackson guitars that he designed, they have a Les Paul width to the fretboard, the neck itself, because that's how he felt. Because not only is it about the left hand, it's also about the finger picking that you do with classical music, transferring that to the electric guitar. can be challenging if the spacing is not close, you know. And so he learned at a very early age to read music, composition, theory, harmony, all of the above. So the point that he became a teacher at Musonia, which is his family's music school that they built brick by brick, still there outside of Los Angeles. And he started playing electric because he wanted to be in a band and hang out with kids, you know, go to parties and play and impress the girls. That's when he went electric. Yeah, you know, rock and roll, you know. And but still his musical knowledge was beyond any of the average musicians that I would play with who actually we got our education just picking it up by ear, playing in parties, dances, and then later on clubs, and then trying to come up with their own original music. So it was not a formal academic education. It was just street, picking up information from other musicians and going to concerts and watching other you know, like my favorite musicians. I lived in Miami at the time, and everybody went through there because they either started the tour because logistically they would bring in all of the equipment, lights and sound and backline for each concert. You know, for each band, they had their own. And Miami had the port, so they could start there, and it was more cost effective to do pre-production in an arena. Let's say like there were a couple. There was Pirates World, which I saw a lot of bands, or there was one in Hollywood. And so, you know, logistically, a lot of the bands chose to either start the tour there or end the tour in Miami and then just take the equipment back to Europe, England, wherever they were going to tour next. And so I got to see everybody. And it was a magnificent music lesson that I got from being there present live, watching all these musicians.
This is surely the better way to experience like that, not to go into a musical school and stuff
Well,
like that. It's better to practicing on
yeah,
stage.
I think music school should start very early on, because what happened to me was that I started taking music in college, and by that time I was playing clubs, and you know, yeah, they in school they teach you academic. You know, first you learn certain things like, you know, you learn the staffs, notation, sight reading, and then you start getting into theory and composition, chords, harmony, you know, all of that steps. And I found myself that was slow for me because I was already playing that in bars at night. You know, I would go to school in the daytime, and then at night I would play in the clubs.
So the school is the
It
road,
wa-
essentially.
well, especially at an early age, if you know, if the child has musical inclinations, you know, like wants to pick up an instrument, loves music, wants to learn, teach him at an early age. And but the problem nowadays in America is music education in schools, it's basically non-existent in a big, broad sense, especially in urban areas where you have the biggest concentration of schools. And I participate with certain organizations. I give classes to people who, let's say, they auction for me to give classes, and that money goes to buy musical instruments for young students in school. There's an organization that I am part of, the Los Angeles Unified District School, to bring music education and instruments, which is the most important thing because they need to get their hands on something to play, you know. Yeah, but with Randy, it just didn't matter because his family had the school and he was taught there. And then he became a teacher. When I was playing with him in Quiet Riot, Randy was teaching, let's say, a typical day for Randy. begin teaching in the morning for about 8 hours, maybe 10, and then we would go to rehearsal. And then he's still playing, so he never stopped playing. Back in the day, we didn't have social media and technology that would take our
Yeah.
focus from what we do.
Full
Yeah,
immersion, totally.
yeah, yeah. So we were immersed in music. We had the radio to listen to. Then later on, videos came. But originally, it was the music was the soundtrack of your imagination or certain events happening in your life. But also, see, music to me is more about what goes on in here than what's going on here around me. When I listen to music, my my wife has to like snap me out of it because I'm like I'm whatever the song is
In
taking me.
heaven.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
gone. I'm inside the song. Like when I play,
Sure.
I'm inside that song.
Yeah, yeah.
Certain things are happening around me. I'm not aware because I'm in the song. Especially playing with musicians, singers like Ronnie James Dio. He had a cinematic way of expressing himself. Cinematic meaning epic, epic. And when he would sing like "I am the man on the silver mountain," I felt like he was like Gandalf, and we were like the hobbits following him. The band,
And what about Stargazer, for
Stargate,
example?
all those songs. They were Gates of Babylon. I used to there's a section in the song which is like the pre-chorus that he hits a note, and I would levitate. I would stand right. I make sure because Craig Goldie and me will be on the side of Ronnie doing that section, and he would hit that note and hold it, and it was like I would start floating.
Yeah, yeah.
It was incredible, incredible. So yeah,
It's amazing.
it,
Yeah.
it is amazing. It's also amazing to. It's actually a blessing, and me being some kid from Cuba playing with all these musicians that are not Cubans.
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
For
to,
example, Ozzy, for
oh,
example,
yeah,
we can
he's
we
very
have to mention him.
yeah, yeah, he's very much not Cuban. Yes, he's not.
No, definitely not.
But you know what?
Uh,
It was never an issue. As a matter of fact, the day that I joined Ozzy Osbourne, he was
it was 1981, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
1981.
1981.
Yeah, 1981. But I did the audition, and then okay, we got a bass player. Then we got things
Yeah.
to do. We got interviews to talk about, and so he went off to do an interview. And a few months later, I pick up the magazine to read. Oh, this is Ozzy's interview because it used to take a long time, before to have an interview printed, put it in the stores, and on the shelves. Now it's all,
Yeah.
you do a show tonight. By the time you're back in your hotel room, there's somebody posting
See,
photos and talking about the show, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes they'll even do it live on Facebook. But
Sure.
so I pick up this magazine at the airport, and I go, okay, great. Yeah, well, let me see if there's any mention of the band. So I read this page, and it goes, yeah, Ozzy. This is Ozzy being interviewed. It goes, yeah, we have Randy Rhoads on guitar, and we have Tommy Aldridge from Black Oak, Arkansas on drums, and Rudy from Cuba. That was it.
That's all. From Cuba.
From Cuba, which I thought, okay, well, he got the first name, but not the second. I mean, I just joined the band. I had nobody knew about me. If it wasn't because of Randy, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Randy recommended me. I had no resume.
Recommend you.
Yeah, I had no resume whatsoever. And but it was the fact that I thought, wow, he did not mind me being from Cuba. That
But you fit
that
in
was
very
okay.
well.
That was okay.
Yeah.
It was it was not a problem. You
No,
know,
not at all.
yeah. So it was like awesome. I love that. You know,
If I can ask you, how was your relationship with the Sharon,
Oh, great,
the manager.
great.
Great. Oh,
It
okay,
was
okay.
fantastic.
Because we have heard many stories
Yeah.
about her. So
And it's usually from people that do not know her.
yeah,
it's
you,
they
you
are
surely know her.
those are opinions.
Yeah,
Mine is a
opinion,
fact. You asked me a
a
fact, and I
fact.
said
Yes,
she
experience.
was great. Not even an opinion. I said great, and
So
I can give you 1,000 reasons why she was great
yeah, 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 yeah.
from
So she
experience.
treats you well.
Yeah.
Um,
I was the day that I joined the band. I was sleeping on the floor of Kevin Dubrov's
yeah,
apartment on a sheet,
yeah,
not a mattress, not a
yeah.
sleeping bag, a sheet. And after I passed the audition that night, I moved in with them.
Everything changed. Yeah. And
Boom.
you played only live albums with Ozzy, if I am not wrong.
You're not
So
wrong. You're not wrong.
okay, because
You're
you
not
appear
wrong.
okay. Italian Italian way, because you appear also in some photos in some photo session in the album
One.
Diary of a Madman.
Yes, one
Diary,
photo. Yeah. One photo.
yeah. One. Okay, okay.
Inside of the sleeve. Yeah.
After Ozzy, you became a big star by yourself with Quiet Riot, because we can't forget that Quiet Riot, Metal Health, sold a million copies at the period. It was 1983, if I not wrong, 1983, okay. And yes, and with Quiet Riot, you reached the fame. How does it happen that you quit Ozzy and you joined once again Quiet Riot?
You know, it's an interesting observation what you just mentioned. So it brought up certain things that make me think because you have a perception. My perception is I don't I don't think about fame. I think about quality. I've yes, fame is good because fame sometimes means that you can feed your family and make your wife happy by being able to provide certain things for your family. But as a musician, yeah, I've been married for over 40 years, and my wife knows me very well. And she's very sensitive to my emotions. But as human beings, it's like, and there's a lot of things that are inward that happen with me that affect me as a human being, having to do with business, having to do with creativity. And I always made the point of letting my wife know that if I am in a certain mood, it's because I'm going through this, dealing with things. You know, how am I going to deal with this situation and that situation? So she's forewarned that it's not about her, that she's not causing this. She's not the problem. She's not the root of it. It's the situation that I'm dealing with. So for me, I quality over fame. Even though, yes, even with Whitesnake, I reach a higher exposure worldwide because with Quiet Riot it was mainly in the U.S. You know, yeah, the management company decided to concentrate on America, which is why later on, like today, it's very difficult for us to play European festivals
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
did not have that impact. Because it happened in
Also,
'83, and
also very costly. Yeah,
yeah, it is very costly. But I've done it before. I've done it with Blow Extra Cold. I've done
yeah.
it
I
with,
know
of
that.
course, Dio. We every
Deal, yeah,
year we
sure.
do like festivals, and but see, it's because those bands had an impact on those markets, but not Quiet Riot, and by the time that I had left, the only time that I left was 1985. Um, there was a decision made to concentrate purely in the United States and Canada, and now the outcome 40 years later is those are still our territories that we concentrate on because we did not nurture the other territories, but that's life. You can't, You cannot just rewrite history. You have to like embrace it, accept it, and make the best with what the situation is at the moment. So with me, the biggest impact that because the quality. See, after playing with Randy Rhoads, I have never reached that level of like uh, walking off the stage knowing that I was part of something
Yeah,
that was making
very
his
big,
that the very big that was
making
making history,
history. Yeah.
making history.
But Metal Health, the album, made really history. Probably the starting point for metal all over the world, for the success of metal, not only on MTV but everywhere. Everyone from 1983 got into metal in US, but also in Europe. So it was very important, that record, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it had a lot to do with the motion that Randy has set about his resume when there were articles, like say journalists were writing, yes, Ozzy Osbourne played last night, and when he's got a guitar player, Randy Rhoads, formerly of Los Angeles band Quiet Riot. So the name Quiet Riot got out there in connection with Randy Rhoads, when we were touring together. And so there was a momentum that carried over, name-wise, association. Of course, you cannot sell millions of records. As a matter of fact, our record went to number one. We were the first
I know.
debut by a
Yeah,
metal band to reach
yeah,
number
yeah.
one on the Billboard charts in the United States. And and you cannot just do it by association of somebody who it's a legendary musician. No, you have to do it. Also, you have to. That will make people go like, oh, awareness. That will create awareness, right? And but the quality has to be delivered by the product itself. So it was a combination of Randy bringing awareness about Quiet Riot internationally uh, through his playing in Ozzy Osbourne, and then us coming out with that record. That record is dedicated to Randy's memory. How I returned to what became known as Quiet Riot again, because at the time it was known as Dubrow.
Dubrow, yeah,
Dubrow,
exactly,
okay,
yes.
yeah. And this is what
The
happened.
singer
Yeah,
surname, yeah.
the singer. And this is what happened in 1979. Randy leaves Quiet Riot to join Ozzy. The name Quiet Riot stopped to be used as the band name. No, that's not a band anymore. It's Dubrow now. And I played in Dubrow like 8 months before I joined Ozzy, and I was living with Kevin. Then I joined Ozzy, and then Randy dies, and I lost the joy of making music. This Randy, not just as a friend, but this is a remarkable musician, probably one in a lifetime. You know, and and for so many things, his musical ability, his integrity about what he did, carry himself, and his vision of who he wanted to become, which was beyond just being a rock star. He wanted to go back to school, get his degree in music. He wanted to be he was not designed or programmed, whatever. He was not used to playing the same songs over and over again, which is what a touring musician does. You know, uh, he was because he needed to be challenged creatively. So he saw, he had a network of people trying to break him into the New York uh, recording scene, the guest musician, the artist, and because he wanted to be challenged every single day. Go in the studio, there's a new song, new artist, a new direction. He needed to stimulate himself like that because we will get off the stage and we would listen to jazz, back in the back of the bus. We put in like Lee Ritenour or any of the other jazz fusion music that was popular at that time in 1981, and we just sit there and soak that in after having played heavy metal. So he needed to like have that challenge musically rather than to be playing the same thing every single night. And so I all these things that I learned from him, uh, I still bring them with me. They're a part of me. They're part of me, which has helped me to adapt to play with different bands, but always bring the musical integrity that Randy taught me. And yeah, that's at the core. If you have me, yeah, if you have me in the band, I am the only musician that ever got to play with Randy in both Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne. So you're bringing in you're adding a very unique uh, by proxy, integrity to your band because what I'm doing is keeping his integrity alive.
And after Quiet Riot, you joined another band, another super band called Mars, with Tommy Aldridge,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that wasn't
yeah,
a
yeah.
very
Tony McAlpine.
luckily. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an independent record release. We could not get a
Ah, I see.
we could not get a major record deal. And back in the day, if you did not have a major record deal, meant you did not have support or marketing,
Hmm.
promotion, or even an MTV
Hmm.
video. MTV was
It's a
not
pity.
interested. Yeah. And so it never went beyond making that record. We never played as a band live.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you rehearsal together at the time on you recorded together, I suppose. Yes.
You put as much effort into an independent record as you do a big record because it's you show up and it's you playing and you put all your heart and passion into it. So, even if it's a major release, major label recording, there's no guarantee that it's going to be sell millions of copies. No, never. So you're just there because you're a musician, you love what you do, and you got respect and you got integrity and all the values necessary to have you be a quality musician.
Great musician in that band and also in the other band that
Oh,
everybody knows.
Whitesnake, yeah,
We are
yeah,
talking about Whitesnake, of course. You joined Whitesnake in
yes,
1987, right? After the
yeah.
87 release. And then you played on Slip of the Tongue. How does it happen? I mean, how you joined David Coverdale on that project, and you were in a band or in a project band. I mean,
I know. You know what? With Whitesnake, it always felt like it was a band. As a matter of fact, at the time, it was never referred to as David Coverdale. It was referred to as Whitesnake. I was playing in Whitesnake. And what happened was in 1984, 40 years ago, uh, Whitesnake opened up on tour. They were our special guest for Quiet Riot for the Condition Critical tour. So I got to meet and hang out. And put it this way, I was a fan of David's since Deep Purple, and then he's got Whitesnake, and I became a fan of Whitesnake. And he had a great band. He had John Sykes, Neil Murray, Cozy Powell, and I really enjoyed it. We watched I watched them every night. We hung out but one thing that only the band.
who was the best player? Who was
Oh,
the
Neil
best
Murray,
player?
Neil.
Neil
Yeah, Neil
Murray. Neil
Murray. Yeah,
Murray. Yeah.
great,
Okay. Okay.
wonderful musician
Yeah.
and great guy. Great
Absolutely. Yeah.
person. And uh, uh, not a whole lot of people knew outside of the band, the nucleus of the band, that I had given notice to Quiet Riot that I was going to leave at the end of the tour. I did not leave before because I made commitments to promoters that I was going to be there. You know, the band, the complete band. And I've never walked away from a commitment. And so So we're having our last night of the tour, and Quiet Riot throws a little party for Whitesnake, the last night of our leg of the tour together. And so as we're saying goodbye, David gives me a big hug and he whispers in my ear, "Soon we're gonna be playing together." I'm going like, who told him that I was leaving? I didn't say anything. So I leave in 1985, Quiet Riot, and then I get together with Tommy, and we start working on a band. And within a couple of days, we get a phone call from Whitesnake's management to have us come in, to the office. They want to
Mhm.
talk to us, so they offer us the spot, drums and bass. And I found out that there was a certain person that was having friction, conflict with David, who was still in the band. And
Yeah.
I go,
Ah,
I'm leaving one situation to
okay.
go to another one. So
Listen,
so I passed on it just based on that. I didn't want to be in the middle of friction. And
I guess to know what you are talking about anyway.
yeah, no need to say names. Just to get to the point that I'm getting at, how I got to play with the band. So a couple of years later, this is 85, by 87, again, Tommy and I, we did that record, but still we didn't feel that, Tony went on his own direction as a solo artist again, and we could not sell that record to a major label. So we felt, we kept looking for the right combination of musicians, and that's when we got the call from the record company, from Geffen, and asking us if we wanted to come down and be part of the video for Still the Night. And we did, and there was Adrian, Vivian, of course, David, even Tawny was there, and Tommy and I, we felt like, wow, this could be great. There's a great bunch of people. There's great energy. Um, let's do it, and everybody decided, yes, let's do this.
but with blonde hair.
I was blown before I was called
Ah,
out to do the video. I was spending time
I
by
see.
the pool, putting in the 80s they had this thing called Sun In, which is a spray that will make your hair blonde,
Yeah.
and then it will fall
Uh-huh.
off. so
that's
so
that's
yeah.
funny,
So
interesting.
so
Because in that period it was hair metal, and hair means that you have to put your hair up in
Air,
the
that's right.
air.
A lot of hairspray. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so that basically that's how the whole thing came together. It was very organic how it happened with Whitesnake, and I had a blast. It was wonderful. I mean, uh, as a whole, as an entity, like a team, as a team.
About David, what can you tell us? You got along very
Yeah, I got
well,
along great,
and respect
great,
everyone.
great. It was great. There's no complaints. It was wonderful. Yeah, we had a great time. Well, I mean, with everybody, I mean, everybody. My relationship with everybody in the band, each one was different, and they had a special place in my heart about being in their company. You know, and then it makes it broader because if you have the same relationship with everybody, it's kind of like one slice of the pie. But if you have a more dynamic relationship, then it just fills the whole circle.
I have an
Yeah.
idea. I have an idea. I would
Mm.
like to ask my followers, my viewers, to make some question, and I will give it to you later. So it would be even more interesting. Just a final question about your planning. What are you doing now?
Yeah, I've been back with Quiet Riot for 3 years now, and we're looking to. Yeah, I mean, we're probably due seven.
What is the lineup right at the moment?
GZ Pearl from Love Hate, also Johnny Kelly from Typo Negative, and Alex Grossi He's been in the band for 20 years, more than 20 years. And yeah, gross, yeah. And myself.
So, Rudy, we'll see you, I hope, pretty soon. And if you want to say something to Italian and American fans, of course, if you want to say hello or something else.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like we were talking, you were going to ask them to just submit
Yeah,
questions that they want to know, and I'll be more than happy on the
me too.
next
We too,
episode that
absolutely.
we do together.
Okay. Hi, Rudy.
Thank you so much. Buonasera.